Hey, is it too soon to talk about rates, mortgage rates? Too soon to talk about the Bank of Canada coming up on June 5th? Yes, it is too damn soon. Okay. But we are going to think about it a little bit. So, what it's weeks, it's really only about 2 weeks away, a little over 2 weeks away. So, it's coming. Like, it's coming. Um, what do we think? And why don't we really want to make any prediction at all right now? People may recall that I'm usually very, very certain of what's going to happen. I've called every fact that there's going to be no cut since the beginning of this year. I've called it well in advance, always made the point. Yeah, no, they're not cutting. I've even announced it before TIF has announced it. I've gone on that morning and said, Big Bank of Canada announcement, no change. And it's 8 o'clock and TIF doesn't come out till 10. So I'm willing to do that. I'm not really as willing to do that in June. I'll give you my gut feeling. No change. June again is no change. We're gonna have to think a lot harder in July, but I don't think we have a June change. But let's break it down. What's going on? What influences their thinking? Well, first of all, on May 21st, we have another Canadian inflation report. So there will be a print then, and it will give us more information. I'm not going to hazard a guess. I have a feeling it's not surging. I don't see it, even though food is expensive AF. Like, hey, food is so expensive. Okay, restaurants so expensive. $28 espresso martinis in Toronto. Holy moly. Anyway, but I don't think we're going to have a real devastating CPI print. I think it's going to look much like the last couple. There is no jobs report. The jobs report will come out after the Bank of Canada announcement. Although I got a pretty good idea that the bank can get some good ideas about that report well in advance. Other things basically don't look so hot. When you look at wholesale price increases, it ain't great. Okay. My take on employment is that I think that other than, we had a bump at the last report, but in some ways, I just think it's bullshit. I know that's a bad habit. It's a bad habit if when you see a report, you don't really fix your narrative that you say it's bullshit. But the trouble with growing a population, 2 million people in 2 years, is that you just create jobs to support these new folks. I mean, they need stuff. They all need stuff. They need stuff. They need to buy stuff. They need to be fed. They need to be housed. They need to be transported. You just create new jobs. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. But my feeling is essentially that when you just listen to the endless announcements of layoffs, like department closures, like hiring freezes, I mean, it for full-time salary jobs, I don't think the market's worth a damn. And fact, construction continues to slow in Ontario and British Columbia effectively. Like, it is just not good. Okay, so my belief in the in the Bank of Canada's information is that it's all bad, but I don't know what they're going to do in June. Like, look, here I have a standing bet. Let's get the bet out into the world. Okay, now people who follow me on Twitter know about this. A few people know about this, but I have a standing bet with anybody. Anybody who wants to say, Ron, they're going to raise rates. Inflation is going to go crazy through the roof. Price of copper's up. Whatever the fuck they say. I don't actually care. Like, there's constantly people challenging me. No, there's going to be lots of hikes. Interest is going to go to 8%. Bank of Canada is going to go to 8%. You will see. Okay, fine. Screw yourselves. Okay, like, honestly. Like, people who want to argue about rates going up in the face of a bad economy and higher unemployment and the slightly declining CPI. All I have to say is this: I will bet you $10,000. Like, you give me all you people with bananas faces and your name is Rhythm Strain or whatever you are. I don't know what your fake names and fake identities. But if you want to give me a real identity, you want to reach out to me and give me a real identity, and you want to put 10 grand up with a neutral third party, my bet is in place. Bank of Canada cut by the end of this year. Not saying how many, but that there will be a cut this year, 2024. Anybody who wants to bet me 10 grand on that. By the way, everybody wants to change the bet and say, well, give me 4-1 odds. You can also, everybody wants to change the bet, can also fuck themselves. Okay. It's a standard bet. It's very straightforward. 10 grand that there will be a Bank of Canada cut by the end of this year. For reals. Okay. What's to do with fixed rates? Okay. Pretty much just tiny changes at the edges. What we're seeing is there was some changes in the US last week. We saw some reduction in bond yields in the US, which is then just immediately seeps over into Canada. The US reasons are manyfold. Mostly actions by the US Fed, the continuing emphasis by Jerome Powell, the US Fed chairman, that there will be no more hikes. Hikes are done. So that just reminds everybody, that seeps into the market and things change. So we haven't got a lot of change in Canada, but it's more or less neutral to slightly down. For instance, we have a high ratio purchase rate from CMHC and the other mortgage insurers. Right now, we're offering 5-year fixed at through our company at 4.59. It's as low as it's been for a while. 3-year fixed went up. Maybe it went up. It did go up, and then it looks like it's on a slight grade down. So we're currently offering, again, high ratio 3-year fixed rate mortgages at 4.74. And it wouldn't surprise me if in another week to 10 days, it might be back to the 4.69. Now, conventional, that's what the vast majority of mortgages are. Conventional mortgages, nothing to do with CMHC. And that rate for 3-year fixed is hovering between like 504, and there might be a 499 out there, but typically more like 504 to 519, but it's coming off a little. Bond yields, as I said, the reductions have seeped over. So we are seeing some lower rates, but that's the picture right now. We'll have a lot more about the Bank of Canada soon, and we will know more.